What's going on, bro? You look young.
We are now recording Happy New Year.
You made it.
Year.
Happy New Year.
2016. Happy New Year to everyone that are with us right now. Latanya and Smokey, the other half of Young Black Expats. Happy New Year.
Yes.
To everyone that is in the room and to the other people that are watching. Happy New Year. We hope that everybody enjoyed the holidays. Thank you for being on the line with us. My name is Donna. This is my husband, Mitch and Salah. And for those, the people that do not know us or haven't, tuned into any of our broadcastings, we moved to Costa Rica in 2013. And Mitch had this idea of just, journaling what we were doing, what we were going through as far as, the journey abroad. And so Mitch started doing the YouTube videos and, it just, was just us just letting people know that you can move abroad. And so then we met our family, Smokey and Latanya, and they came and they moved to Costa Rica. And then we became Young Black Expats as a collaborative. And so just wanted to, get that out so everybody know that it is 4 of us, including our baby.
It's cool.
So it's going to be more. It's for 2016, we have a lot of things that we've been envisioning. And so we're really excited about, growing and expanding in a lot of different areas and ways. So, we're glad to have that going on. And then we have our wonderful guest, Keisha.
Hey.
Hello, Keisha, at KDB Consulting. Thank you so much for being our first interview
of the year.
Thank you. I was so mad that I missed it last year.
Oh, you know what? Well, this is the best way to start off 2016. And I'm going to throw it over to Latanya and Smokey just in case you guys want to, have anything that you want to add for the beginning of the show.
Well, we're excited to be in 2016 broadcasting. We've been refreshed and ready to have some global conversations because Young Black Expats is not just about living in Costa Rica. And there is a movement happening. And we consider ourselves as being vanguards in that movement in a loving and community-centered way. And so we look forward to building that community with all of you who are watching, considering, having questions, want support, desire even to really get serious about your journey. So stay tuned because we have a lot of good things planned for you.
Happy New Year. Let's get the party started.
Look, I just want to thank you and Smokey and Latanya for throwing down that amazing dinner, for Christmas and New Year's. If you ever get in contact with Smokey and Latanya, I'm talking about soul food cooking. Wonderful. It was wonderful. So thank you.
Oh, we love, we're inspired by being together. It's so easy for us. And that's how you know when you are in the company of people that Spirit brought together.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot.
Absolutely. And so, Miss Keisha, are you ready?
I am, and I'm excited.
All right. Well, we're going to just jump straight to you. And first, just introduce yourself. Let everybody know who you are, where you're located, and just who is Keisha.
Okay, that's a lot. So hello, I'm Keisha. Currently, I'm in sunny Southern California, in Los Angeles. And I was an expat for 10 years. So I lived in Japan, Korea, and Egypt for a little bit and loved everything about it. But when I got there, I realized that this was not an opportunity that I was even told about growing up. Like I'm just an adventurous person, and I say and I go do it. But then I realized like there are so many other people that should know about it and should at least have the opportunity to think about something like this. So once I got overseas, I realized how much like culture and language and people are my passion, and really wanting to connect everyone in the world, really wanting to see more people, learn more things. That when I would see the news overseas, and I'm like, gosh, it looks so different from here, like looking at America from someplace else, or how other people view us. And I saw my small yet large part in that is that sometimes I was the only American that people met. I lived in a place in Japan when I first got there that I met people who had never met a Black person before. So I'm their first Black female American. That's a lot on your shoulders. The only, but it's also a great, just went through that journey and came back and tried to see, like, feeling like there's still so much world to see and wanting to get out there. I realized that I could do more to get more of us out there, to get more people excited about learning something new, doing something new, meeting someone new, eating something new. That there's newness every day when you're overseas, and that's me. That's what I'm all about.
Fantastic.
I love it. Now, tell us a little bit about what you do, Keisha.
So I'm an independent consultant. So I started off when I lived in Japan. I started off as an English teacher, like a lot of people do. And once I went to school to learn Japanese. So I'm a Japanese translator. I learned how rare a Japanese translator to look like this is. And a friend of mine, another beautiful sister that's still over in Japan, Kina, who's from Philadelphia, she and I started translating together. And we affectionately called ourselves two Black girls that translate. But like that made us known because we really were just two Black girls that translated. So I started to translate for independent companies, artists that would come overseas. They would, did we get stuck? Are we still there?
Don't worry, we're still here. They'll jump back in.
Oh, okay. Okay, just checking. People that would come overseas, we translated for Carlos Santana, Wayne Shorter, Herbie Hancock. They did a show over there. I happened to be in the audience. I knew one of the main translators and helped out with some stuff. So as we started to see that there were more people that needed our translation skills, we could bring in some of our other talents. So for me, I had a base in community work. So I worked with nonprofits doing funding in Atlanta, Georgia, building programs for nonprofits, working with youth, working with women. So I pulled that in as well. What happens if I am contacting with students overseas that want to come and study in Japan? I'm not just your translator now, I'm your foreign language coordinator. I'm your overseas coordinator. I translate for a Japanese newspaper now on a consultant basis, Yomiuri newspaper, and they contact me because I have a great understanding of where I live, which is
Latanya, do you see her?
No,
Okay,
she's not there.
Sounds like it just clicked off as well. Her audio.
Yeah, she'll just have to come back in.
They did say poor recording or poor reception.
Okay.
So that's awesome. Translation services. And when you're watching us, you get a chance to hear about some of the options that you have even after you've lived abroad, because it broadens your horizons. Don't you just love, Mitch, how she said, I didn't know these options were available. And isn't that the story of most of us? We didn't know that the option to work abroad, live abroad were available a lot of times, unless you were in the military, your parents were in the military, or you joined the military.
Exactly. And also, if you can do some housekeeping, we'd like to welcome all the new people that just joined. Britt Perry, thank you so much for joining the room. And also, if you have any questions about anything, hit that Q on the left-hand side, and you.
No. You have to type Q into the way that it's broadcasted right there. So you just type \Q and then your question. Anyone? We did have a question while Keisha was talking. The question was about were there any veterans who were in Costa Rica? And I answered him in the chat saying yes, there were. The veterans and the retirees are the ones who led the way, which is why Mitch and Donna were inspired to create the Young Black Expats, because many of the blogs were representing a retiree's perspective. A retiree tends to have a fixed income, military, also have fixed income and benefits, and Costa Rica has it set up to really embrace those retirees and those veterans. And so there definitely is quite a bit of resources for those military vets, and blogs, like unlimited blogs on that. In fact, check out our friends blog, Aspiring Retirees of Costa Rica.
Oh, she's back.
Oh my goodness, what happened?
Yeah.
We try to refresh it, and then I don't know. I think Latanya, I think it's retro. Mercury is in retrograde.
It is, and everything else.
Yeah, Mercury's in retrograde. We just gotta keep rolling. We'll just keep on rolling because Blab is in beta testing for everybody that's watching. So it's not clean. It's not always clean, and it depends on the device. So you were saying about your translation services, Keisha?
Oh, yes. So I translate for musicians, artists, companies, businesses, students, anyone who's interested in going overseas, or maybe they don't even realize they're interested in going overseas. When I hear people's ideas, the first thing I think is, how far can you go with that? Like, how much more can you go? What more can you do? So our company is able to help people expand their borders and get them out to where else their services could be used.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, there's a question in the chat from Birth Growth Life. What initially brought you to Korea?
Oh gosh, Korea. Korea was nowhere on my list. I was in Japan for 7 years at the time, and I was getting kind of restless. I was kind of bored. I had already graduated. I was working for myself. I wanted something different. And I was actually looking at moving to India to go and study dance and Ayurveda for like a year. And one of my friends was in Korea, and she called me in a panic. And she was like, I need someone to come take my place at this job for 6 months. And I'm like, I can do 6 months anywhere is nothing to me. So I'm like, okay, I can do 6 months. It's only an hour trip. An hour flight from Korea to Japan. I went and I realized just how low the cost of living was compared to Japan. And I quickly became a fan of Korea real fast. That the same $3,000 I made in Japan that was gone in half a month, that I used that money. That's what I used to go to Egypt for 3 months and didn't work at all, and took private lessons and had an apartment and all this type of ridiculous stuff. That the cost of living is what got me to stay in Japan. My girl is what got me Korea. My girl is who got me interested in Korea.
So how was it being melanated? We like to say melanated in Korea. You know, expats use that language a lot. They, we kind of have that nationality understanding.
Yeah. My melanated goddesses, yes, I love it. I love it. Korea, it was a different experience. It was very similar to Japan. They are very close to each other. They do have the same connection with America in terms of military personnel. So especially in Korea, when they see us, the assumption is military. So it was different, even for my military friends, that my military friends would look at me and be like, where are you stationed? And I'm like, I live up the street. Like, I'm not stationed anywhere. But that was also a thing that people assume that we don't go anywhere unless the government tells us to. So that made it even more important for me to talk to people about just traveling. But Koreans are a lot more vocal than Japanese people. So whereas the Japanese people were very shy, it took them a long time to sort of warm up to me. And when I say long time, I mean like 2-3 years to even be able to say hello without getting surprised that they see the Black girl that they see every day. Every day you see me, but you're still looking nervous. In Korea, they're a lot more vocal and they're a lot more assertive. So they're more likely to voice their opinion on, that's that Black girl we see every day. Like, it's dealing with that right there. But I will say, I expect that anywhere I go. I had that in Egypt, which was the big surprise to me. I thought I was coming home when I got to Egypt. But when the day after Obama took office in 2008, I had just got back from Egypt and I moved to Korea, and my whole life changed. I did the same walk I had done for a year and a half. And now on that walk, everyone notices me and they're all smiling and waving and happy to see me. And the teachers, because I worked at a school then, the teachers that had seen me every day for 3 months up to this point, now they notice me again. And it did make a difference because the idea of an American was not a Black person at all. Like, no matter how many times I said I'm American, people would ask me, what part of Africa are you from? Or Americans aren't Black. Only rich Americans are Black, or only Black athletes are Americans. That there was nobody that represented us on television that looked like us to the rest of the world. And when he became president, it all of a sudden made it okay for there to be Black people in America. And it took about a week for that to wear off, and then they went right back to who they've been. But that was the most comfortable week in Korea I ever had.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's interesting. We hear a lot of interesting things about. I'm sorry, I wasn't on camera. We hear a lot of interesting things about Korea and Asia, and it usually comes from the point of view of people who do live on bases and have conveniences and that type of thing. How was it as far as your shopping? Comida or food here can be rather expensive in the grocery stores, or so. What was it like for you shopping?
Well,
I know that's a different question.
Oh no, girl, food is important. Like we bond on food. Again, comparing Korea to Japan, I didn't realize how much I was paying in Japan. So when I got to Korea, I loved it. What Korea did open me up to, I guess, kind of prepared me for Los Angeles, is that they like fresh, organic farmers markets. That wherever you lived in each city, there was a farmer's market near you. So it would come to your neighborhood. People would bring all their fresh fruits and vegetables there. I wouldn't go to a grocery store for much of anything. That, it's usually a couple times a week. And I was, juicing more, smoothies, eating a lot healthier. I cooked more when I was there because the food was so fresh, because it was right at my disposal. And I got used to that lifestyle. I got used to shopping, not grocery shopping one time for the next 2 weeks, but shopping for the next 2 or 3 days. And seeing how that adjusted my energy level, seeing how that adjusted my skin, my hair, my mood, everything. That my life kind of started to revolve around, after work, I'm going to go and see if I find my favorite old lady with those golden looking cucumbers and get some of those for $2. And they're about this big, or, they have pears. I'm sure you've seen an Asian pear before. It's about the size of my head. And like you share it with about 5 people. And in America, it's probably about.
They are
they're delicious. Like they're so sweet. But
they are so good.
Here, but over there, I pay about $3 one. And I'd have it for about. So I got used to that. And I mean, I love kimchi. So like Korean food was not an issue to me. I love spicy food. I always try to find like a Mexican clique and a Thai/Indian clique wherever I live to make sure that all my needs can be taken care of. And because Korea is so small and the military installations are kind of close to each other, there's usually that bit of diversity right around the installation. So in Seoul, you'll find, Mexican restaurants, Thai food, Indian food. And I lived down by the Air Force Base when I was in Korea. So it was easy for me to find that there. I didn't have that type of fortune in Japan. So I was definitely a lot more comfortable in Korea in terms of the foods that I like to eat. But my body adjusted really quickly.
Yeah, that's a very
Girl, this sun is doing it. I'm so sorry. Okay.
When you here, you do have to go and get your food in shorter intervals. We're so used to going to one place, getting everything, having it in our refrigerator, and it really, you're right. It makes you healthier because everything you're eating is fresh. Everything digests.
And it's a ritual. Like you get excited to come into the kitchen and, I would just look at my vegetables. Like, look at that. Like, is that the color of a cucumber? Oh my gosh. Look how pretty that is. That I was a lot more mindful about the food there. And that was sort of how everyone was. So like trying to keep that same spirit alive being here, it's easier because I'm in Los Angeles and there's a farmer's market everywhere, but you do have to be conscious of it to continue that regardless of where you are.
Well, we have a few questions in the chat that we want to get to. And how we're going to get to the Costa Rica question. And we're going to get to there was a healthcare question about Costa Rica, and this one about handicap accessibility. We can get to that in a Costa Rica segment. We're going to finish up on Korea. And a good question is, can you talk about how easy it was to get hair done, not near a military?
And where? Sorry.
Yeah, so tell us where. I forgot who asked the question. That's why we used this little question feature here, because it helps us to keep up with it.
So hair, you know what? I'm looking at y'all hair. Y'all looking at my hair. It's always a thing no matter where we go. If you move to New York tomorrow, you got to find somebody that could do your hair. If you move to Atlanta, it's the same thing. Like, it's the same struggle that all sisters have all over the world. I'm just gonna put that out there as my cap. So I learned how to fix my own hair about before I left to go overseas. Like that was my own means of preparing myself for this journey. That since I went over with a company first, they kind of gave us information on like what we would have at our disposal. And once he said we didn't have deodorant that was good for anybody overseas, then I knew I wasn't gonna get my hair done. So I started, like I was natural anyway, but I never liked to do it. Like the process of having to wash it and sit there and do this, and it's an experience. It's like a 4-hour event, and I don't have a lot of hair. So when I was in Japan, I did meet some sisters that, a lot of them, I had a couple of Cameroonian friends that braided hair, but because of the market, you are paying pretty much for like somebody's child to go to school in order to get your hair braided. So I can pay $60 in Atlanta to get braids, or I can pay $350 in Tokyo to get the same braids done. So I just had to sort of balance that cost effectiveness. In Korea, it was a lot easier because there is the military base. Everyone doesn't have access to the base, but all the Koreans that work around the base want that American money. No matter what they say about us, they want us to spend. So I found a lot of my other girls, some of them I see are in this chat, were able to find Koreans that learned how to do something with Black hair, whether it was straighten it, curl it, color it. Natural natural is still hard to find anyone to be able to do it anyway. So I would have to do a whole lot of prep work on my own hair before I could go into a shop and have her do it. So I wouldn't just, I think I made the mistake one time, I went in and was like, oh, I need my hair done. And as soon as she washed it, I saw her whole face change. Like what, it just shrunk 8 inches and I don't know what to do. Like, I didn't want that to ever happen again. So it depends on how trustworthy you are.
That hair conversation can be a long conversation about our hair. It comes up. Maybe we need to do a show on this hair. How about that, Donna? You like that, Donna?
Yeah, Donna, yes.
I think that's a show, right? We're gonna do a show on black hair
bride. I can tell you the people that don't deliver overseas, those that do, those that give discounts. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. We're gonna have you back on the show, Keisha, about that conversation and get deep. We're gonna have you in just a minute. It seems like you're chomping at the bit to get in on this hair conversation. Yeah, let me check. Let me check to see if I can. If there were any other questions. Did you all see any other questions come in, Mitch?
No,
honey.
Any questions?
Okay. All right, come back, get real, get deep, keep it real.
Oh, wait a minute. Hey, I know her.
Yeah, these handles are funny.
Can you guys hear me?
Well, it's coming in. So hey,
hi.
Get deep, keep it real.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Yeah, I would like to talk about the whole hair thing in Korea. I lived in a very small town, and actually my hair is usually naturally curly. But I will say this, I was able to find a couple of Korean spots, not near a military base, who could get it just as straight as this. I think the only problem I used to have with them was that they would like to blow dry it up in an air fro and then flat iron it down. It would drive me nuts, but I would still get the same effect. So not everybody's that lucky, but if you a little selective and bring up maybe a Korean translator with you, you can get, pretty lucky. And when I first moved there, I was pretty lucky. I would get it done for like $15, $20. And then somebody must have told her, because then a month or two later, it jumped up to like $25, $30.
Expats have a way of opening their big mouth about how cheap something is, and then send the prices up. Shush your mouth, people. Just go and say thank you and just keep it moving.
Exactly.
I like to add to that, like what I noticed, especially regardless of where you go, if you know what your hair needs,
yes,
to really leave and have your own products and stuff.
Yep.
Because that's what's harder to find. Mm-hmm. Like I was natural, but I became real natural when I got overseas.
Meanwhile, on ESPN,
because
Michigan trying to stay unbeaten at Purdue with a 2-point lead.
Because I couldn't. You can't buy products. You can't just go into a Sally there. And there wasn't Sally there. And I thought she was Sally, like my Sally that I knew in the hood. And it wasn't. And I got to the door and she was like, go away. Go away. So if you actually know like what you need.
You can't hear me. Can you turn off your TV? Is that what I heard your name?
Turn mine down.
Okay. Quick solution.
Ma'am. Okay, that was excellent. So I kind of put hair care into my own like travel kit. Like what do I need in order to go overseas in terms of my hair for the next 6 months? And I did it in 6-month blocks. Shampoo, even if you use Pantene wherever you are, Pantene wherever you are going is not made for you. And I learned that the hard way. A lot of our healthcare products, I didn't realize that they were
for our next show.
No, I meant just in general, any type of hygiene, like going overseas, that what I learned was that hygiene products aren't made the same everywhere.
one other thing that can you just refresh your screen because you keep going in and out. So when we talk to you, you don't hear us. So just refresh. It'll just come back all together.
Oh no, she cut out. Was she? Okay, I think you said refresh.
Yep. Okay. We're talking about Pantene and all this good stuff. We
Yeah, products. It done went down over here in Costa Rica.
The guys are like
on mute over here. Damn, what kind of products you gonna use, man?
Head and Shoulders.
Huh? Okay, that works.
No, but Mitchell, that's a good point. You had to go. It wasn't so easy to find.
Matter of fact, I did it today.
Right?
And we have some good, it's funny. But we went downtown San Jose, and what happened was when we went, I had to go to the barber there because they didn't have the blades. But they do. Donna went into one of the stores and they do sell
textured braiding hair.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Wow. You're very.
Okay, so we have a transition question that I think could apply to Costa Rica and to Korea and anyone else that has lived abroad. If you'd like to add something to your living abroad, because we would like for people who are really planning. Now there are two types or a few types of people. There are those who plan, some spend years. Those who are inspired. Mm-hmm. You are with the four of us, the young Black expats who were inspired, and we tend to attract a lot of other friends who were inspired, and so we came sight unseen. However, when people are watching, we want you to come back weekly and to talk to us and that type of thing, because you have options. It's not just Costa Rica, and every location, just because you see pictures and you're ready to get out of wherever you are, mm-hmm. you just may want to check in with yourself a little deeper. So I wanted to say that to the 67 people who are watching this this evening, and invite you to come and jump in the seat, ask your questions. You don't just have to post your questions in the chat. And so one of the questions is, how is internet? Mitch, you want to talk about internet? You and Smokey, that's a nice transition.
The internet is pretty good. We can get 20 megs. It's very high-speed internet here. We really don't have a problem. Depending on the areas, though, some of the areas that we like to go to, like on the Caribbean side, is sometimes is not that strong, stable. So if you have a business and if you really need to use the internet for your job or things of that nature, make sure you are like near the inner city, near San Jose, like for us, or near that area, because the connection is so strong and we can get good connection. So if you just want to live abroad, off the grid, and you don't worry about internet, then you can go anywhere. Yeah, you could.
Mm-hmm. Now, I have a different experience, whereas Mitch and Donna have always had good internet. We live right up the street. And so, we are in a populated area. And so we are in a progressive area of Costa Rica. But literally, because we were on the mountain, and it affected the reception. And so that is a question when you're considering, if you need the internet to communicate with your family, you can't assume just because you're in the city, close to the city, that it's going to work. It's going to be seamless. And we still even have power outages in this area. So some of the areas that are not in the Central Valley of Costa Rica, sometimes their internet is actually better because they don't have as many people using it in the further out places.
No, that's really true, because when we first moved here, we moved to a place called San Carlos, which is 3 hours away from San Jose. It's like the country, but they had excellent internet. But like Latanya said, it's Costa Rica is tricky. Like you could be in the town and then you can go up the hill and be in another zone. Like I don't even know what to say. It's like
Complete.
country royal jungle. So it's very tricky. Latanya and Smokey had a little incident in the jungle in the little river. The stream. I think y'all went upstream. And it was a little ways.
Yeah, but we knew that there was no internet there, and there was no option to be using cameras while you're hiking.
And how far was that from where we stay, or where you stay at in Santana? How far was that?
It really was
about 35, 40 minutes around the other side of the mountain. That's all. But it's a whole nother world around.
It's a different world.
That's how tricky it
can be. Different world. The other thing that a person wants to consider, especially if you are technical or you use technology, is the upload speed in Costa Rica is slower, no matter even if you have their highest band. It's the bandwidth of internet is not as fast as in the US, of course. And so the upload can be horrible. It can take an hour and a half to upload a 15-minute video, or sometimes even less. Would you say that's similar?
About an hour for 15 minutes, you're going to get about an hour and a half. So that's true.
So some people can tolerate that. Some people come and move to the country and start cursing out the country and saying they're backwards and all kind of stuff. And you just might want to get yourself together now for that. So Keisha, how was it in Korea?
Korea and Japan had amazing internet, like absolutely no problems. I didn't live right in the city as well, kind of far, and no issues at all. Excellent cell phone reception, all of that. Egypt was a struggle, though. That Egypt, not just, it was 2008, so that was a little bit pre-Arab Spring. So the government would shut the internet off at times, and I had never experienced that before. Like being in a country and all of a sudden I have no contact with the outside world. That wasn't something that I had thought about when I went over there. But so that's, I know I still have friends that are in Egypt. They don't have that issue as much anymore, but it's still not a wide internet usage area. But Japan, Korea, no problems. You're good.
Oh, that's great.
The South Africa. That's a good question. Deep mentioned India and South Africa is shady. Is that what you meant, shady? But Donna and Mitch had some experience with Africa. How was the internet when you all were there in Africa?
The internet and electricity and water. It's a struggle. I don't know about North Africa.
We went to Nigeria.
Yeah, it was a struggle. Like they would turn down your they'll turn off, like sometimes it's hot there too. It's like 100 degrees and sometimes 110, and sometimes the electricity just goes off, so you just there.
And everybody has a generator because they're expecting the electricity to go off every day.
Yeah. And
then some people are on a schedule, so you have to get up, take your shower, and out, because by 8 o'clock the electricity goes off and you're running off the generator. Yeah. So not all of Africa may be like that, or it could have been some parts of Nigeria, but every place that we were in Nigeria, it was that. Like that.
And the internet is, they're working on it now. In some countries in Africa, the internet is getting better. It's competing with different countries. But as on Africa, I wanted to ask you a question. What did people say when you told them that you were living in Egypt? Because a lot of people, even traveling to Africa, if you tell someone you're going to Africa, they're like, why? So why are you going there? Why don't you go to France or, Germany? but you live not necessarily, I mean, it's Africa, but you live in North Africa, Egypt. So how did they, what did they say, your family and friends?
Why? That's what they said. Why? And I kind of knew that, so I didn't tell them until I had bought my ticket and I was on my way to the airport. Like, we weren't even going to have that conversation. And again, it's 2008, so that whole region is still very unstable. No one really understands what's going on. Everyone has their own idea depending on what you see of what it's like. And I don't like people to tell me what something's like. I like to be there myself and be like, oh, this is what it is. What made Egypt an interesting experience for me is that Egypt they got most of the Sudanese refugees. So if you were, my homegirl that went with me, we both studied at the same Arabic school. She was dark skinned. Like, I always considered myself dark skinned, but like in real life, I'm probably not. But she's definitely dark skinned. And the way she was treated and the way I was treated, everyone assumed that she was a prostitute. So she had a completely different experience than I had. Because a lot of the Sudanese refugees, the women, because they're dark skinned, they would put them into prostitution. And I mean, that was something, just that whole experience and what I learned there. And again, for me, Africa is like home, just the whole continent. I already dealt with people looking at me crazy because I'm Black in Asia. So I thought that I was not going to get that there. I thought that I would blend in on the continent, and I didn't. And even like people from different places, like I had a sister that definitely looked like me, like she really did. And she was very confused on why we looked alike. But she would say that she could tell I was different. She's like, something about you is different. And when I told her I was American, she's like, oh, okay, that's it. And I'm like, really? Does my skin look like, I understood that my skin looked different to Japanese people. My skin looks different to Koreans, but to other Black people, really? Like that, it made me think about what this whole colorism thing is in the world.
Wait, Keisha, you gotta take a breath, because listen, you just dropped some stuff about us because a sister had dark skin, that she was considered a prostitute. I did this to signal you that I was trying to digest that, right? And Donna was trying to digest, and then you moved on to another global conversation. You gotta take a breath on some of these things so we can get in here, okay? So could you go back a little bit to that?
Yeah. Okay. My bad.
What? And for those of you who are watching, this is why we're having this forum for us. And no shade to our friend Brett Perry, who joined us on one of our very first shows. Hey, Brett.
What up,
Hey,
Brett. So could you go back to this?
Yes.
Because we deal with this in Costa Rica, but now you just raised something else.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's everywhere we are, that they are. It's everywhere. And it was explained to me that because they got so many of the refugees, that so many of the women came, and not like they wanted to come. Like, people didn't just relocate to Egypt. Everyone knows what's happening in Darfur. We know what that country looks like. I'm sure people would have loved to stay home, to stay in their home. But in order to save their lives and their family, they moved. And it means that it was my dance teacher that told me, because my girl and I were in the same class. We're together. We're both American. To me, we're the same. And she was Iranian, so she's a lot lighter than we are. And she was like, oh, I can tell you the difference between you and your friend. That they think, because she was so much more dark skinned than I was. And I'm like, really? Is that not so much in the city of Cairo? But our class was in Nasir, which is about 30, 40 minutes outside of Cairo. Beautiful city. But she would have issues out there that when we would walk together, they weren't so conservative that women couldn't be out by themselves at night. But that wasn't the normal thing. I wouldn't be able to wear like a shirt like this and walk down the street. I did have issues with having my toes out in my sandals. So even when we made that adjustment, when the two of us were there, guys would just grab at her. They would say all type of stuff to her, and I just saw how frustrated she was, and I couldn't understand it. Like some younger brothers that told us, like, "Oh yeah, she looks like," and just to hear them say that, like, "Oh, she looks like a prostitute," I'm like, "No, she doesn't." Like, no, she doesn't. Like, and the issue is that the way you view these people that are coming to save their own lives, that have to come to your country, you view them as prostitutes. Like the first problem, that right there. But then having to like really understand colorism in Egypt, because there are a whole lot of Egyptians darker than me. Talk about the European. There's a whole lot of folks in Egypt that don't consider it part of Africa. There's a lot of people that I had to be there to understand that this issue of racism or colorism or fear of anything different or darker is real old, and it's everywhere.
Wow, that opens up another conversation. But thank you for that, because that might be something that we have to take on a little later. Donna and Mitch, we have some questions about Costa Rica that we want to get in. We're in the last 10 minutes of the show. One of the questions is, how is it in Costa Rica when it comes to handicap accessibility?
In terms of the stores that are out, they have handicap parking, handicap ramps, and things of that nature. There are condos and different things where if you just have to need to use the elevator, they have that. It just really depends, but they do have some things for handicap.
Yeah.
For the handicap.
And that's a very good question, because it's something that if you are not needing that type of access, that maybe that we don't even consider or talk about. So that's very good. But not all of the houses, the way the houses are made here in Costa Rica, that's something for you to consider. But it may work to your advantage because there are smaller people.
That was good.
Okay, and there was another Costa Rica question. You may have to post it again. Again, as much as you all can use the new feature that Blab put in place. Okay, healthcare. So, Donna, you've had more interaction around healthcare.
For those of you that don't know, Costa Rica is a huge place for medical tourism. So people from the United States, even some doctors suggest some different techniques, surgeries that they refer their patients to have it here in Costa Rica. And so it's real big here. So with that being said, there are several different types of insurance to have. It's almost like the United States. You can do public insurance where they go off of your income and you pay the and then you can do a private insurance where you're more in hospitals that are just like in the United States. They're the equipment, high tech, the look, everything is
English. They speak English.
Exactly. So you would really think that you were in the States. And then of course they have international insurance where no matter where in the country you are, you'll be able to have insurance.
Then if you're on medications, most of the medications, abroad is a little bit cheaper, especially in Central and South America. So that can save you some money if you take medications.
But so the healthcare it's a good healthcare system.
Oh, yes, excellent.
As far as the healthcare insurance, definitely is concerned. So that isn't usually a problem.
No, not at all.
They also have an association of Costa Rica for people who are moving to the country, and you can get group insurance rates if you join that particular organization.
Group.
And so group insurance is good as well. That's another alternative.
All right. Well, it's a good time, a good segue to close the show. Do you want to invite someone to the seat to jump in to ask Keisha or any of us a question? The seat is open if you'd like to join us and add some value to the conversation, or if you just want to ask a question or say hi.
Yeah, what's up?
We see some folks that we've talked to before. It's a new year. Come on and say hello to us.
Yes, 2016. Don't be shy.
Get out your shell.
Taki,
Right.
Thank you for joining the room.
Okay, well, I guess we have the shy posse this week. Oh, there we go, keeping up with the Cubans. You know, I dropped that hint for you.
The New Orleans family, right?
Yeah.
They should be on their way.
They just left.
So
they were here in Costa Rica for a few days and left.
Yeah, but that was when they brought one on the broadcast last time.
Oh, okay.
So it's taking a minute because when we have 4 people, there's something going on with Lab that when you have 4 people, it does this. So no, stay with us. We want you to come in. Keisha, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast tonight. We look forward to including all of our guests into some other things. Do you mind if we drop you so that we can get to keeping with the Cubans in for a minute?
Or I just wanted to ask Keisha if you can drop some nuggets for people who are trying to move abroad. What would you leave them? And then after that, how can we get in contact with you? What is your internet?
Yes, absolutely.
Your website so people can get in contact with you.
Okay, I'll type it in here too. But for anyone that's moving abroad, regardless of where you want to go, I would say to have a clear understanding of what you want out of the experience. Like, what do you want to get from wherever you go? Whether it's living abroad or traveling abroad, that once you have that clear goal, you'll get it whenever you get there. Like, you definitely will. And you can see me on Twitter at KDB Consulting. I'm also a part of the Sisters Overseas crew, so at Sisters Overseas on there. I am on Instagram as ChocoKey3000. There's an explanation for that. I'm on Facebook, Keisha Baines, Keysha. I'll throw that in there too. And you'll hopefully be seeing me on YouTube channel and some other stuff in 2016. I might be coming to y'all hood doing some things.
In the message so people can get it?
Yes.
Okay, let's go.
All right, Keisha, we know you're still here with us. We're just going to drop you a little bit for broadcasting. Thank you.
Thank you. Love you guys. Bye, baby. I see you, girl. I see you soon. Okay.
Okay, so let's see if we can get keeping up with the Cubans and also anyone else that may want to jump in the seat in just a few minutes. A couple of minutes. Wrap. Okay, Charles, I see you. I'm going to see if keeping up with the Cubans come in. Are you there?
She's streaming. No sound.
Okay, yeah, we don't have any sound and no videos. Okay, so here we're going to take Charles. Hey, Charles, we're waiting for your stream to come in.
Come on, drum roll.
There we go.
Oh, well.
All right.
Okay, here it comes.
Everybody, how you guys doing? Keisha told me to jump in. I wanted to say congrats to you guys. First of all, this is quite wonderful. Just to hear all
Thank
great jump over to Paris for about a couple.
Thank you.
And so all this stuff about the expats. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm going to be listening in more. I want to hear more about Costa Rica, really in the whole color issue and the whole issue of race and what's happening in Costa Rica. It's probably very important that we don't talk about it a lot. I know quite a few people are there, but I'm looking forward to that conversation next. So this is just a kudos. Happy New Year. Keep doing what you're doing. And I'm watching.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Yay! We want you to watch. Yay!
Support. Thanks for the support.
Take
It
care,
means
guys.
a lot.
All right.
Peace. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, well, that was a sweet note to end on.
To begin.
Or to begin.
To begin.
It's this is the year of nine, so it is new beginnings and endings. This is a quantum year, so you need to be mindful of the thoughts that you're thinking, the words that you speak, because it is going to manifest. So you can have faith in anything, whether it be your fear or your fierceness.
Hey.
So hey, you
2016.
you get to choose. You get to choose.
Yeah.
All right.
We see you, Salah.
All right, so we are ending this episode today. Thank everyone for joining us.
Especially Keisha. That was very interesting.
Yeah, that was awesome. I would like to hear more about Egypt and the pyramids if she went, but we didn't get a chance to go there.
We
But
will.
we will.
So yeah, if you're watching the recording, join us live so that you can interact with us. Share the recording with your friends. Go through the archive on YouTube or on the Facebook page, Young Black Expats Living in Costa Rica, and somebody wants to get in at the last minute.
Come on, give him
Oh
a
no,
shot.
he jumped out.
Oh, he jumped out. Oh.
So
See you guys.
Peace.